Okay, if we look at activity 3.1 part A, we're asked to work out or to check the value of 625 to the power 3 over 4. Now, the meaning of fractional powers is explained in the section, and so 625 to the power 3 over 4 means the 4 tells us it's the fourth root of the number, and the 3 tells us it's raised to that power there. And you can do this in two ways. You can either work out the fourth root of 625 and then cube it, or you can cube 625 and then work out the fourth root of the result. With a calculator it probably doesn't make much difference, but in fact 625 is quite a nice number because it just so happens that 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125, times 5 is 625. So 5 to the power 4 equals 625. So the fourth root of 625 is 5. And we've got to raise that to the power 3. And 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125. So we can do that one without any calculator at all. Part B, 78 over 98. There's nothing very obvious that will cancel here, so we might as well go straight to the calculator. We're asked to show the result of this to 6 decimal places. So if I use my calculator to work out 78 divided by 98, I get 0.7959 18367. Now we're asked to give this answer correct to 6 decimal places. So this is practice in working out decimal places. For a decimal, to give something to so many decimal places, we have to count from the decimal point. So from the decimal point we count. 7 is the first decimal place. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 6th decimal position has the digit 8. To decide what to do with the 8, we look at the next one, the 7th position, 3. 3 is less than 5. If that digit is less than 5, then the preceding digit does not change. So 3 is less than 5, therefore 8 does not change, it remains as 8, and we can write this whole number to 6 decimal places as 0.79591 8. The 8 does not change, and that is to 6 decimal places. Part C, we are asked to work out 2 to the power 4/3. So just as in part A, the meaning of 2 to the power 4/3, the 3 tells us it's the cube root of 2 to the power, and the power is the 4, which can either, you can think of it as meaning inside or outside the square root sign. So you can either do this as the cube root of 2 and then raise the result to the power 4, or you can do 2 raised to the power 4 and then find the cube root. Cube root of 2 is a complicated number, but 2 raised to the power 4 is straightforward. So I can write this answer, or this number, as the cube root of 2 to the power 4 means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. So that final result there is 16. So we want the cube root of 16. And for that we can use the calculator now because there's no simple answer to that. And I'm going to use the button on the calculator that is marked x to the power y, but I don't want to raise 16 to a power. I want to find the root, the third root, the cube root of 16. and that means I'm using this button on the calculator but in the inverse direction, so I have to press Shift on my calculator. Your calculator may be different, but I have to press the Shift button, and then well, actually I do it, let me just do it properly. I press the cube root 3, so I press 3, then Shift, then x to the power y, then 16, and then equals. And I get a result of 2.5198421. Now if we look at the question, it does ask us to give the answer correct to 3 decimal places. So from the decimal point, the first decimal place is 5, the second one is 1, the third one is 9, that's 3, but then we have to look at the fourth position. The fourth position is 8. 8 is more than halfway, 8 is more than 5, so that changes the 9. The 9 goes up by 1, but that means it becomes 10, which means that the 9 becomes a 0 digit, and the 1 before that becomes 2. So 19, if you like, becomes 20. So altogether we've got 2.520. I'll just go through that again. The 8 is more than 5. Therefore the preceding digit has to go up by 1. But the preceding digit is 9. 9, if you increase it by 1, becomes 10, so we put a 0 in that position, and we carry 1 to the next column, the second position, so that 1 becomes 2, and 5 becomes 5 still. So that is to 3 decimal places. And finally, part D, we have 2 to the power 100. 2 to the power 100, that's a straightforward application of your x to the y button. You're going to type 2 on your calculator, and then x to the power y, and then 100, and then equals. That's what I do on my calculator. Yours may be slightly different. You have to learn your way around the calculator. I get my result is written in this form: 1.2676506, and then times, it says times 10 to the power 30. Sorry, trying to do a times 10 to the power 30. And we're asked to write this number to 3 significant figures. Now when you're given a number in this so-called scientific notation, scientific form, standard form, then the 10 to the power 30 is not part of the precision, it's part of the magnitude. It just tells you where the decimal point goes, really. So we leave that as it is, but then we concentrate on the first part, which is 1.2676 and so on, and we want 3 significant figures. This time we're talking about significant figures, not decimal places. For significant figures, you start with the very first digit that you are given, in this case 1. So that counts as your first significant figure. 1, 2, 3. So those are your 3 significant figures, but you have to, just like with decimal places, you have to look at the fourth one to decide what effect it will have on the third one. So if we look at the fourth one, we see that it's 7. 7 is more than 5, therefore it rounds the 6 up to become 7. So you're left with 1.27 times 10 to the power 30. And that is to 3 significant figures.